Я, наверное, лет уже 10 занимаюсь информационной безопасностью бизнеса, и у меня есть что рассказать.
Well, I have a lot to say. Last year, I gave you specific examples of investigations, and today I am going to tell you more about methodology with examples, and that will be interesting to the colleagues who are at the beginning of their way and those who are well on the way. It will be interesting to see what kind of tools we use and how. This is what I'm going to say. First, theory and then practical examples. And cats. Cats help security. Do you know that? That will be a discovery for you. We shall have cats here, and the person who is most attentive will get the prize. How many cats and on which slides? So we have 3 prizes.
Котики помогают.
Cats will help you.
Давай.
So, what are we going to investigate at a workstation of your employee? Any action leaves a digital trace.
Читал.
Someone read the file, opened the file, got into the network, opened a certain port, a certain site, did something else, and the traces are there. And we're going to work with digital traces. However, this information is abundant. We have too much data, and it's very well that you know the time slot and specific person, but when you have a lot of data, you need search tools. The first classical tool is search by attribute. What is an attribute? Something external. Name, extension, maybe the channel, the time.
Что-то внешнее.
This is something external to the file. Pluses. It works fast, faster than any other tools. But it works only with external factors. Second, search by content. When you want to look at the contents, what is inside? You get insides. So
Когда ты уже по атрибутам что-то.
when you found something by attributes, it will be easier for you to see the contents.
Хорошо, когда у тебя там.
And it's good that you have a document and you can get the information, but sometimes you cannot get it. Say images, we have OCR. When you get text out of the image, the technology is not new, but engines do change. And we have to patch our engine each time, and he works better and better.
Но OCR извлекает из.
And OCR takes it, scans, and gets
Инструмент, который нужен будет при расследованиях. Что мы будем
text out of it. Then, what are we going to search for? And we're going to use glossaries and regular expressions. When you understand approximately what we're going to get, regular expressions, something we're going to take. For example, files which are called RRD asterisk asterisk dot and 3 more symbols.
Что есть на подходе? И что?
What do we have now? Neural networks. Without going into much detail, neural networks are something that we can teach. For example, we taught our neural networks to discover passports, Russian passports, passports of the Russian Federation. For example, we have 100 images, 80 of them are cats, but 10 are passports. And the neural network can get it. For example, your stamps and something else. How does it work? For example,
Вот здесь из наших скриншоты.
so we have screenshots and we can see that there are some traces. A certain employee sent a file out of the company. He copied it on a USB key He connected it to some other computers, and that will help us to investigate.
Поиск по
Then attribute search. This is how it looks like. We set up conditions, and 1,000 files are monitored, and we find 4 files with appropriate attributes that we set up. Something was printed, something was copied, and we optimize our work to a great extent. Search by text. We can have glossary, for example, the word directory or director, and we found the words, keywords, and even a picture with a certain text with the same word, and OCR sees that this is a picture about the director.
С этим
That is more or less clear. Now let us make it more complex. What do we need? We have to understand what did the person do or did not do with his PC. So
обвинить или доказать. Кого-то надо, наоборот,
maybe inaction
что ж,
is also important. What can help us?
вся информация, вот,
All information
она содержит в себе
it contains metadata.
когда-то
Something was done, or the person worked from home, from office, from somewhere else. Now, it will be more clear a bit later. What else besides metadata? The information as such. A person read certain texts, processed certain letters, opened a certain site, read or sent it something, events. He logged in locally, remotely, successful authorization, unsuccessful authorization. We have to know all those facts, all those events. I'll show you a specific example. When a person connected locally
какого-то регламента, и вам уже дальше
on the weekend,
исследование.
and that is a big question. Why? Not remotely, but locally from the office on his day off. Then a person
Файлами куда-то
in the office worked with files, deleted them, sent them somewhere, what he did and what he did not. The first point is the working day. What happened? We can take the snapshot of his working day and see that at a certain point he worked with this application at this site. It may be important and useful. For example, a letter was sent that certain actions have to be taken urgently, and the person said, I didn't get the letter. And we say, no, you opened this letter.
Я не знал об этом.
And the person said, I didn't know. Oh, really? He wasn't present in the office on that day. He really didn't know. Or a person deleted a file,
В системе мы смотрим,
and in the system we see, yes,
у нас есть
the fact is here, the file was deleted.
очень прикольные инциденты.
An interesting incident about file transfer, interaction with competitors, mail channel or site channel, and we see that a letter was sent with a certain text, with addresses. Search by attributes is interesting here, and we see the fact of file transfer to the competition.
Пример такой еще тоже посещение сайтов от доступа объявлений, где
Site visits. For example, people sell enterprise
клиентов на пилот
hardware,
просто скриншоты.
and you can see the screenshots, passports. I told you, in the data flow, we see the passports. Personal data was transmitted
Личное время.
to somebody else, and neural networks do it very quickly. Credit card number with 16 digits in a row and the control sum.
Регулярку
And you can really find such data streams very easily. What else do we have to do? what does the person do at his workplace. So there are 3 points: discipline, activity, and productivity. We have to know, security people and managers, when did the person start working, when did he finish working, while at work, what did he actually do, did he really work, was it useful to business. And
Надо HR, но нет.
this is for HR, this is needed for security people, because this is a good argument for communication with the person. If he has a problem, if he has to be pressurized somehow. So you may have a question. There are different people. Yes, there are different people, and there are some persons where you can control, discipline, lawyers who must be at the right place at the right time, and there are salespeople, and the main thing is the result. And we shouldn't control his office time, but the results of his operations, what he did, what he sent, what he received. So time discipline is not applicable to salespeople. There were some top managers who sometimes manage the companies very well, but sometimes he watches football matches during his office hours. And it's also interesting to realize whether the manager works or entertains himself. And there are different layers of information. Information for top managers, mid-term managers, rank and file users, and users from different departments. The owner and top manager should have access to all information, other people not to all of them. So this is the office time, and you can see and analyze it. And a remote person said he worked for 8 hours a day, and we said 5.5 hours YouTube. The rest of the time he was working. Then you can guess the future. When a person leaves the company, he starts thinking about leaving the companies before he leaves. So the person starts looking for a new job, discusses that with his colleagues, and it helps us to identify the event before the event happens. So it's also important to see the atmosphere in the group. For example, when the top manager took a decision which was not popular at all, and people started discussing it with his peers in WhatsApp, and it was important to know what they really think about the company. Why you need that? Because very often a person, when he is leaving the company, he realizes that he believes that what he did in the company is his property or her property, regardless of when he did it, during office time or not. He deletes a lot of files, he copies a lot of files. And some people say that I am going to take everything. I have a USB key, 2 terabytes. I am going to copy everything here. Maybe it will be useful at my new office, in my new company. So it's interesting to see that PAM, DCAP are 2 good systems that can help you. For example, when a person looks for a new job, our virtual employee, what she did in order to try to find a new job. Once we had a problem that a person started looking for a job, but she was acquitted because she was looking actually for a job for her husband, not for herself. And we proved that it was all right. So file tags, and we can see where the file is. Is the file in your company or did it leak out of the company? So we can check if the file left the perimeter of your company, is beyond the perimeter or not. Sometimes is the file being prepared for leaking now? We can also find this before the event happens. We see information in the computer when the information should not be there, and there is an alert to us. We want to see why, what is happening. Then emotions, regular expressions also will help us to see the real mood, the atmosphere in the company. Site visits, also important. All these examples are from real life. What else can we do? What else could be useful? For example, we can trace violation of IT rules, which improve the health of your company. For example, inventory of hardware and software. Someone can take out a USB-connected device and insert another one in one company without internet. He came in with his phone and started going out to the internet through his phone. And the system showed us it showed us that the person got access to Wi-Fi, which was not allowed to do. Remote management also is important to see what is happening at a certain workstation. Anomalies, IT anomalies. On a regular basis, we find such things that antivirus doesn't say anything, firewall doesn't say anything. However, we see anomalous activity. You can block external devices, if any. You can have black lists and white lists. And of course, forensics with an asterisk. Why? Forensics is a science about investigation of events. If someone comes in and forensic person comes in, or you yourself carry out investigation and you need to look at the logs, I know it requires a lot of time, but if you come to your computer and the computer already collected all the data beforehand, thanks God you have all the data, you can start working at once. For example, violation of IT rules. In one computer, GIP was launched, Escape was launched, and well, you know that some anomalous activity will take place. In the other case, you see local events that shouldn't have happened. In one organization, they saw the passwords and mapped it to the dictionary of 100 easiest passwords. And we find out I have a password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why? So it makes people work properly. So inventory, hardware and software. A disk for 480 gigabytes has disappeared. Why? Maybe it was stolen, maybe it was just disconnected. Why? It's interesting. It requires investigation. Let's have a look. Why a person did that? Why he needs a certain application? Remote management and administering Wi-Fi connection, which appeared all of a sudden. Anomalies. On average, a person in one department takes
У всех там
certain actions for a certain time. And we have tens of thousands of events of a certain kind. And with one person, one employee, you have 100,000 events. Why? So there is a bot which operates. It was not discovered by the firewall, and only by anomalous behavior we discovered it. Blocking external devices, blacklists, whitelists, total blocking,
было скопировано больше, чем
or if during a certain time you copied more than a certain amount of megabytes, everything could be blocked. What else has to be taken care of? Look at this slide and realize what is going to happen.
будет именно стоить владение.
How much
Решения подходят, а оплата
operation will cost. So don't look at the cost of the license, but what about operation cost? You will need a specialist, you will need to operate it for several years, 3 years, 5 years, how much it will cost you per year, and then for 5 years. Someone
помогает это
sends you a link
тоже важный момент.
and say, just
Что
open it and see what happens. So you can, of course, play with all those blocks, but please, if you install anything which delays business operations, that will be bad. Your security system should not impede your normal business. It should be non-invasive. Money is important, so your equipment, your hardware and software should not prevent business from earning the money. What else? There are some organizations that have to use certified solutions only, and which are in the register of local Russian-based software. So look at your solutions. Are they on that register or not? Look at the technologies. We didn't prepare for certain events, but we preferred independent things which do not require extra expensive. We use Ubuntu, we use Astra, Linux operating systems. We want to be as independent as possible. So, and workstations. Those who worked with Windows alone, well, they have to shift to other operating systems. Then what kind of operating systems? It's a good question. So I told you about the tools. Now a few words about the product. Staff Cop, the forensic system and operations control. Investigations, efficiency, evaluation, data security, remote investigations. A few words about ourselves. We're a fully Russian company from Novosibirsk, from Akademgorodok. We came here to share our experience. We've been dealing with cybersec for a long time. We have a lot to share. We have a lot of expertise. So I have very little time. Just I'll tell you that everything is installed quite quickly. If you want details, come to our stand. We'll tell you more. So everything works. Everything is convenient. And a few words about our benefits. So look at the criteria that we cover. Look where we can be useful to you. Any questions, please?
Спасибо.
Thank you very much.